Hello, I'm Reverend Dr. Christine Tata, preaching today for the churches at Colville and Chewelah, both United Churches of Christ, open and affirming congregations who believe that God is still speaking. These words are for the holiday or the holy day of Epiphany, which is a marvelous time after Christmas and before Lent and Easter, when we get to reflect upon what it means to see that star. I begin with the readings from the Gospel of Matthew in the second chapter, verses 1 through 12. You will hear familiar characters and a familiar story, and we'll talk about that as we go, because my message today is titled, Even Rough Epiphanies Shine. Are you ready? Here we go. In the time of King Herod, after Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea, Magi from the east came to Jerusalem asking, "Where is the child who has been born King of the Jews? For we observed his star in the east and have come to pay him homage." When King Herod heard this, he was frightened, and all Jerusalem with him. And calling together all the chief priests and scribes of the people, he inquired of them where the Messiah has been born. They told him, "In Bethlehem of Judea, for so it has been written by the prophet, 'And you, Bethlehem, in the land of Judah, are by no means least among the rulers of Judah, and from you shall come a ruler who is to shepherd my people Israel.'" Then Herod secretly called for the Magi and learned from them the exact time when the star had appeared. Then he sent them to Bethlehem, saying, "Go and search diligently for the child, and when you have found him, bring me word, so that I may also go and pay him homage." When they had heard the king, they set out, and there, ahead of them, went the star that they had seen in the east, until it stopped over the place where the child was. When they saw that the star had stopped, they were overwhelmed with joy. On entering the house, they saw the child with Mary, his mother, and they knelt down and paid him homage. Then, opening their treasure chests, they offered him gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. And having been warned in a dream not to return to Herod, they left for their own country by another road. And now, for those who are playing this video in the sanctuary, because I am not in two places at once, I take a little pause, because what they're going to do is sing the hymn for the word, "As with gladness those of old." And so we allow them to do that. And then I get to continue with a secular reading, a little bit different. This is called The Journey of the Magi by T.S. Eliot. A cold coming we had of it, just the worst time of the year for a journey, and such a long journey. The ways deep and the weather sharp, the very dead of winter. And the camels galled and sore-footed, refractory, lying down in the melting snow. There were times we regretted the summer palaces on slopes, the terraces, the silken girls bringing sherbet. Then the camel men cursing and grumbling and running away and wanting their liquor and women, and the night fires going out and the lack of shelters, and the cities hostile and the towns unfriendly. The villages dirty and charging high prices. A hard time we had of it. At the end, we preferred to travel all night, sleeping in snatches, with the voices singing in our ears, saying this was all folly. Then, at dawn, we came down to a temperate valley, wet below the snow line, smelling of vegetation, with a running stream and a watermill beating the darkness, and 3 trees on a low sky, and an old white horse galloped away in the meadow. Then we came to a tavern with vine leaves over the lintel, 6 hands at an open door dicing for pieces of silver, and feet kicking the empty wineskins. But there was no information, and so we continued and arrived at evening, not a moment too soon, finding the place. It was, you may say, satisfactory. All this was a long time ago, I remember, and I would do it again. But set down this. Were we led all that way for birth or death? There was a birth, certainly. We had evidence, and no doubt I had seen birth and death, but I had thought they were different. This birth was hard and bitter agony for us, like death, our death. We returned to our places, these kingdoms, but no longer at ease here in the old dispensation, with an alien people clutching their gods. I should be glad of another death. The poet, Eliot, I believe, had a rough epiphany, describes a rough epiphany of that particular Magi in the poem. And we may have those, we may. It's not always, or maybe it's hardly ever, we see a star, oh my goodness, Disney music plays, we see a star, we see things all differently now, forever and ever, and everything's better. Yuck, gag me. No, that's not how life is, and I don't believe that's how God works. Personally, you may have a different idea, but no, I don't think so. First of all, I think usually God has to be a lot rougher to get our attention. That's just how it is for most of us, at least for me. That Magi, who T.S. Eliot impersonates in the poem, he had to take a long journey, and when he saw the baby, he could see in that baby not only birth, but death, and then birth again. That's a lot to see. And then he had to go back home to where they didn't know about that incredible revelation yet to be. So that Magi is living on the cusp of the revelation, and he's saying, I'd be glad of another death. I want to see that birth, death, resurrection. I want to see that. Maybe he never gets to. We don't know. And we use the word epiphany awfully loosely sometimes. If you look it up, which I did because I wanted to be sure of the meanings, the definitions are, they're hardcore. No, epiphany is this event. That's what it is. It's not your realization that you like one kind of coffee better than the other. That is not an epiphany, apparently. All right, we play around with language. But this morning, perhaps I had a sort of an epiphany. I thought about the gifts that the Magi bring. to the baby. I thought about our giving to, when we have our offertory, our offering, we said let's give to the glory of God, and we do all that, and good for us. We do that to keep the churches going, and then to have outreach. We do that because we want to give to the world. All right, good. But this morning, I wasn't thinking about any of that. I was just thinking, it made me cry then. It might make me cry now. I don't know. I was thinking, we have the gift of life, human life. That's what we get. That is what we get. And how in the world we would, now I know I'm going to do it, and so are you. We're going to ask for, God bless us, and please God do us this favor. We're all going to do it. But how in the world we have the audacity to do that once we have this gift, I don't know. I was astonished by the thought that we have been given this remarkable gift. And the very next thought I had was, well, shouldn't we be thinking of all the ways in which we could give of ourselves? And I am not talking about, give to your charities of your choice, yeah, we'll do that. Maybe, I don't know. I don't care if you do that. That I wanted to change my mind about how I interact with people. Oh, Lord, give me strength to deal with that person. How about instead, hey, God, help me give that person maybe a little more kindness than I ordinarily would, because they're a jerk. Okay, you see what I'm saying? But so just turning it around, because I already have this gift, God. I got this gift of being human. So I just wanted to think about turning around my expectations. I am not going to make myself a doormat. I am not going to be giving away the store. And if people, but I do think people will find a way to, I think people will reciprocate. What they do. They will, the gift I give might be the gift of ghosting you. I don't know. But you see what I'm saying? It's simply a different way to see it and to realize. Right now, my future has become narrowed. And most of you know. And if you don't know, we'll talk about it afterward. I have had to resign this position for health reasons. And I'm going to have a different way of living with a little more help. I don't like that. But still, I have the gift of human life, and I have the gift of people who are helping me. And I have had the extraordinary gift of being your pastor, even for a short time. That's my epiphany. It's a rough epiphany. It was tough to come through. But I believe even the rough epiphanies shine like that star in the east. That star in the east will guide me, and I hope it will guide you as well. So let the people say, Amen So be it, blessed be.